You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 17th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 17th Michigan City Council meeting. Before we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer, I just want to make an announcement that former Mayor Bob Beeler, some of you may remember him, some of you probably don't know who he was because you're a little bit younger than some of us, but anyway, former Mayor Bob Beeler had passed away on December the 4th, just recently. And from the obituary, it says that we are deeply saddened to announce the passing of former Mayor Robert Beeler. He was 84 years old on December the 4th. He had passed away in California, which that's where he moved to after he left Michigan City. They are going to have a ceremony in the spring at St. Mary's Immaculate Conception Church. And they're going to have burial of ashes with full military honors at Greenwood Cemetery. And I'm sure that more information will come out as the time gets closer. Mr. Beeler was a two-term mayor, 1981 to 1991, and then 1992 through 1995. And prior to that, he was also a city councilman for a number of years. And I believe he was also county councilman and some other county offices that he had held. So in our moment of silent reflection, silent prayer, please remember Mr. Beeler and his family in his at this time of the year. So with that being said, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And when you sit back down, please silence all your electronic devices. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. And Ms. Eilif, if you would please, roll call.
Mr. Beatrice,
Present.
Mr. Coulter,
Present.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Dr. Cora,
Present.
Ms. Lee, present, Ms. Moldenauer, present, Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Present.
and Ms. Tillman.
Present.
We have 9 present and no one absent.
Thank you, Ms. Eilif. And we all had a chance to review the minutes from the December 3rd meeting. Are there any deletions, corrections, motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion to approve, and it's by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilwoman Tracy Tillman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Minutes are approved. Reports of any standing committees? Reports of any standing committees? Finance Committee meeting?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Michigan City Finance Committee met on December 17th, 2024 at 6:03 p.m. There was a quorum present. The Michigan City Riverboat Boyd revised claims docket for December 17th, 2024. Riverboat Fund 2235, $267,430.05. That is for LaPorte County project of $5,804.40. And Woodruff and Sons Inc. $261,625.65. Riverboat EFT Fund 2235 for $1 million. And that is for the transfer to cemetery operating, $350,000. Transfer to the general fund operating, $500,000. and transfer to park operating $150,000, totaling $1 million. Total claims, $1,267,430.05. The City of Michigan City 2024 Riverboat Fund Statement of Cash Position. Fund Type 2235, the Riverboat Fund, $630,381.92. Fund Type 2236, Rainy Day Fund, $1,848,763.71. The grand total of the fiscal year to date, December 31st, 2024, is $2,479,145.63.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is there a motion to pay the claims?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Councilman Cora made the motion, seconded by Councilman Nelson. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Claims are to be paid. Reports from boards and commissions. Reports from boards and commissions. Having none. Reports of special or select committees. Reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments. There we go.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Beal. I'm Deputy City Attorney and here on behalf of the legal department. And tonight we're requesting that sponsorship be withdrawn from the drone ordinance. This is just based upon further research that we've done, a meeting I had last week with a drone professional, that this ordinance basically needs to be somewhat completely revamped. We're just asking that sponsorship be pulled so we can work on a new proposed ordinance and hopefully have that done here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, Attorney Buell, what would do when it comes time, because it's on the agenda.
Correct.
Yeah, when it comes up on the agenda, then we'll go through the operation of
Okay.
doing what you just suggested.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, you're welcome. Any other reports from boards or commissions?
Chief Taylor, Michigan City Fire Department. So since I didn't make the meeting last month or earlier this month, the first meeting, I was unable to give a run report. I'm still gonna be able to give you a little bit of something,
Okay.
real basic. We had a total of 367 calls for the month of November. 9 of those were fire, 291 were medical calls, 13 were hazardous conditions such as fuel spills and stuff. 13 service calls, 33 good intent calls, and 8 false alarm. On 5 of those medical calls, we used Narcan 5 times. So as far as giving you a total of where we're at year to date, I do know we're over of where we were last year. I think it was by a couple hundred. So on the next meeting, beginning of January, I'll be able to give you a full picture of what the year looked like, give you a better breakdown.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't have anything except have a good holiday, enjoy your families. And
Yeah, Chief, I do have a question. And I know that you're gonna give us a full report in the month of January, but as far as Narcan goes, is it on the increase that the fire department is using, or?
it comes and goes. Like there's months where we'll have, I remember one month I think we used 9, and then there was another month where we did 0. So there's no real pattern to it. It doesn't seem, it's just kind of like a whatever. I don't know if it's just, on a certain month they get a bad batch of stuff in or what. I don't know. I can't really answer that. That'd be something I'd probably get up with EMS or maybe try to get up to the hospital and see if they have any kind of clue. But it's just a whatever. Like I said, 5 this time. I think last month was 0 or 1 or something. So it's just luck of the draw for that month, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Any other questions for the chief?
Anything? No. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President, I wanted to make
Yeah,
one
Dr.
comment.
Laura's got a question.
No, I don't have a question.
Oh, is it?
I wanted to make a comment regarding Narcan.
Yeah.
And that is, this last year, the number of opioid deaths in our country has plateaued and it started trending down. And one of the reasons is because of widespread Narcan use. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention here.
Thank you, Doctor. Any other reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments? The mayor is here this evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. A couple of updates. So on Thursday, I know that there's been some media coverage, but the gift aid from the Lilly Endowment, we've been notified. So Michigan City was part of two different projects for the Lilly Endowment. One is around housing and our planning department, and the other is around trails. And it was a collaborative effort with all of Northwest Indiana around our trailway system. And part of that $20 million was $4 million from Michigan City for cultural, we call it the cultural trail Pine Street corridor coming from the train station, and activating Pine to connect us to the national park, number one. Number two, also to the trailway system. So there's going to be some work that's done with kiosk and different wayfinding signs and signage. But that's being done that's a collaborative effort with all of Northwest Indiana. The second piece of that is housing. That it was a collaborative effort with Unity Foundation, Legacy Foundation, all the foundations in the region around housing. So Michigan City is going to receive $700,000 for one of our ready housing projects, which is a workforce project at the corner. It's our Singing Sands. And I knew I wasn't going to get all this information today to you, but it's significant. The other piece of that is funding to make sure that the software system that we're trying to implement with the planning department, that we have funding for that, additional funding, and also funding for infill housing throughout our neighborhoods on the west side, and mostly the west side and possibly the east side. But also what I wanted to share with you in the housing piece of it, which was significant, is that LaPorte County Habitat for Humanity received funding, but also Homeward Bound also received funding. Yes, on Carwick Road, their project was also partially funded in that, which is a good thing. So we got a couple of things out of that. So I did want to share that with you all. Also, the Safe Streets Grant. I know last council meeting you approved that, and we did receive, I think it was $80,000 for the Safe Streets Grant for the plan. We'll be moving forward as far as a comprehensive plan of attack for that. We're in our CCMG process as well. That is due in January. So the goal is to get the list of streets. We've identified streets already, so to get that in front of you all for January, but it's coming. They've increased it again. So it's 1.5 again. That's available. And I did ask the Redevelopment Commission again to kick in the additional $600,000 to help us with the engineering and the $500,000 so that we can maximize the full match versus the 1 million that we budgeted. The other thing that I'm in the middle of, because it's what it is, but we're resubmitting our RAISE grant for Michigan Boulevard. So the RAISE grant last year, we didn't receive it through DOT, but they gave us some great feedback. So we're resubmitting that. I'm using the resources. Today we met with my resource team as an alumni of the Mayor's Institute on City Design. I'm afforded resources to help us. So we met for the first time today, and we have 2 more meetings to help us with the RAISE grant. So we hope to get that submitted next month. And then, as you all know and seen today, that I'm working on the fire grant. So I worked on that this past weekend. It's due Thursday. So sorry for the delay, but it's what it is. We want to get it in. We're eligible for, I wanted more, but we only can ask for $1 million. I didn't realize that. So, the $1 million is, the grant, and then the match is 274,000, something like that. It's in, you got your resolution, but, our goal is to get that in on Thursday. And that's to replace one of our oldest frontline trucks, which is coming in at $1.27 million. So, our goal is to get that in this Thursday, and cross our fingers and hope we get it. So we'll continue to look for these opportunities. Sorry, it's last minute. It's what it is, but I'd rather us get it in and see what happens. So, and I would like to give a shout out to Sylvia in the planning department. So she's pretty much our grant administrator. I don't know if people realize that, but she is. So I bombard her with those things, and we did not get the EPA grant, but we already had a debrief. That was the $20 million community change grant. Only one city in Indiana got it, but it's disappointing to hear that 200, there were 2,700 applicants, and 200 received it, and we were number 204. So, yeah. So hopefully, if EPA isn't disbanded, we'll have another opportunity to to apply, because they gave us great feedback on the grant. I thought it was a solid grant. They said it was a solid grant. So hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to resubmit that and possibly make it to 199. So
Yeah,
yeah.
a couple questions. So on that EPA grant, what does that consist of?
That EPA grant, the community change grant, there were several partners. There was Just Transition Northwest Indiana, NAACP, us, and the Hope Center. And one was for workforce development. Second part was a resiliency hub. You have to look it up. It's a long definition, but resiliency hubs are throughout multiple communities, especially like heat waves, tornadoes, emergencies. Basically have a place to go, and it's really around climate and some of those climate change and some impacts of that. Our piece of it was significant. There were two locations, Adams Park, and then the park behind the police department. We have some wetlands and some opportunities to create some environmental learning centers outdoors. And we had two of those that really focused on the water tables and things like that. Also, HVAC replacement in homes and businesses. So it was comprehensive, and I kudos to the two interns that were in the planning department. They helped with that grant as well, as far as providing the information for it. So I think it's a good start. We have the plan, so we can apply for some other things now with it. So it was very detailed.
Okay, and then that grant for Michigan Boulevard, the RAISE,
Mm-hmm.
it's the RAISE grant. So how much is that grant for? And if
The
we get,
planning grant.
pardon?
It's the plan. So there's two phases. So we applied for the planning phase. If you get the planning, you typically get the construction.
Mhm.
The planning phase of it is about $4 million. The total cost of the project with planning is about $24 million. So it's from Carroll Avenue all the way down to 12 for Michigan Boulevard, and that is reconstructing, slowing down the street, the treescapes, taking out some of the safety issues with some of the medians, bike lanes, transportation, looking at the busing system. So it's comprehensive. We worked with Structure Point when we submitted the first one. So we're still working with them, but now we also have some additional resources that I've been provided for free. So we started that process in creating kind of a historical look back at what Michigan Boulevard used to be, And then we're looking at it from a perspective, what should it look like, 25, 30 years from now? And understand that last year, the redevelopment commission, we actually connected the TIFs. So now there's a actual funding mechanism that can be used. We're starting the facade program on Michigan Boulevard. We've already started meeting with some business owners to help them with some of the facades for their buildings. So it just creates a different sense of inclusion as far as funding opportunities. The Boulevard has never had that. And you can see the disinvestment because of it. The TIF areas are thriving and getting more, and Michigan Boulevard has kind of just gone by the wayside. So now this is an opportunity for us to rejuvenate that area.
Okay. And the housing grants that you were talking about, would it be okay? Could you send copies
I will
or
send the
email
plan.
it
I
to
will
the
send
city
I
council
will
so we
send
can
the
know what's
entire
going on with
plan.
that?
I'll send the entire plan for that because that's not our money at all. It's going to the Unity Foundation. They were the grantor,
Mm-hmm.
grantee. So basically, for that, I'll send you the whole plan
Yeah.
for both of them. I just got both of them, the full plans of what was funded this week. So I'll send both of them. It's good for you to have because it has the narrative, the budget, all that
Right. Well,
information.
it keeps us in the loop.
Mhm.
You know, when people ask us questions, we can tell them what's going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
you'll get it. I just got it, so
Okay.
you'll get both of those. Any other questions for me?
You know the questions of the mayor?
Nope. All right.
No? Thank you, Mayor. Oh, and as far as all the resolutions and everything go, I want to thank the clerk's office for keeping everything in line and getting it to us, and yeah. So thank you, ladies, for taking care of that.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I've never done this before, but I'm asking permission. Can I go back and ask our fire chief a question from his report? I had it written down and I lost track of it. I just had one
Right.
question. Sorry about that. And my question is, like, when we go and we use Narcan on a person, revive them, what usually happens with that person? Are they arrested? Or how does
That's
that
out of
work?
our hands, how that goes. Usually EMS will take them to the hospital.
Okay.
Because the Narcan will wear off and the effects will hit them again.
Right.
So it's best to take, sometimes they refuse. That's their choice.
Right.
What happens to them when they go to the hospital? I don't know if they do get arrested or not. I don't know what the outcome of that is. But they go to the hospital usually, and then what happens from there, we don't know.
All right, thank you. And I'm sure people are wondering, well, where'd that question come from? Real quick, if you'll give me a minute, Mr. President.
Sure.
And every month or two, we hear about the Narcan that we use to revive people. And I always wonder, are those people arrested? Once that happens, because I feel happy that people are being revived using Narcan, but it kind of burns me a little bit in the fact that where I grew up back in the 90s, my neighborhood was wiped out by crack cocaine and things of that sort. People were arrested because of usage. They weren't dealers, but they were arrested for usage. And there's some people I know that are serving some really long jail sentences because of being a crack user and not a dealer. But now it's important nationwide to save people from opiates. But that was not looked out for back in, like I said, the 90s, as certain drugs ran through my neighborhood, and there are a lot of people that I know are in prison. So that's why I asked the question, just for my information, but I just wanted to make that clear for the people that are here why I did that.
That's probably going to be a better question for Chief Corley, since that would be more of a police matter than, our job. We try to revive them and then they're out of our hands.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a quick follow-up for that. And so when they're brought to the hospital, they're evaluated, and then if they need to be admitted, they're admitted. If they can be released, they're released, but they are referred to a substance abuse program. And so that's what happens. Initially, they're definitely not arrested.
Right.
Later on, what happens, I am not aware of, but initially the focus is on taking care of their health.
Exactly. And and like I said, that's just my concern that before those weren't sick back then, they were criminals for usage. And that just kind of beats me up a little bit, but
Okay, moving on. Madam Clerk, are there any petitions before us this evening?
There are no petitions.
Communications?
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on December 2nd from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management regarding the approval of air permit application. Correspondence was received on December 4th from Chief Taylor, Michigan City Fire Department, providing November stats. Correspondence was also received in the clerk's office on the 10th from Harris Law Firm regarding the appointment to the Urban Enterprise Association.
Thank you, Ms. Nyland. Our first resolution before us this evening by title only.
A resolution by title only, 11th edition to the city plan for use of American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA fund and amending certain prior ARPA resolutions. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Dr. Cora, and Ms. Moldenauer.
And do the authors have anything they'd like to add at this time? Councilwoman Tracy Tillman?
I hope that we've all had the opportunity to read through the resolutions and to review the exhibits A and exhibit Bs. And the exhibit A's and B's contains the prior approval of ARPA funds for projects, equipment, services. We're in a surplus of the ARPA funds remains and needs to be reallocated. And then within that, for that reallocations, these are funds that should be reallocated to things such as the remaining projects that fell into the existing buckets. That's not currently listed in the exhibits. For example, if there was funding and they didn't need to utilize all those funds, then they can be put into these other specific buckets. For example, the neighborhood beautifications, which can fall into the housing or housing bounds and urban gardens, neighborhood organizations, rental assistance, and things of that nature. And these funds had to be reallocated before December 31st. If not, these ARPA funds would be returned back to the federal government.
Any other authors have anything they'd like to add at this time? Having none, anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this resolution?
Good evening again. Sorry for my voice has been gone for a while. So I did want to list out some of the things that that we're reallocating the money for so that the public could hear some of those things. One is a refuse truck backloader, $282,000, which typically the truck is about $350,000. I shared with you that there was one available. Snow plows on 2 trucks, a park maintenance truck. Airport was in need of some mowers. We need a battalion vehicle, a vector truck with a dump and snow plow. A lot of some IT things, security cameras in some of our parks. What else I got on here? There's quite a bit. Some more food stuff. What you don't see on here is some of the items that we had our workshop on because they already fit into a bucket. And this resolution is about the reallocation of funds. So that's where you see the additional money going into the buckets that you have. Like Humane Society and Free Cat Shelter, we talked about the Trap Neuter Release Program. We also talked about North Central Community Action Agency, which is a neighborhood center in Eastport. Their build out. So we did take a look at things that the city needed for some services to reallocate some of the money and some of the money that we had in some of the bigger buckets, but also money left over Like for instance, and I shared with the finance committee, like the quiet zone money, we had $180,000 still in that bucket. So we're reallocating that to support some of the things that you have before you. So I think it's a good use of the money. I think there are going to be a bit of support in some of the neighborhoods, in the parks. So I think it's a good use of the money. And to get this done, we still have uh, more work to do in the controller's office with interagency agreements and awards and things to organizations outside. So, for instance, the park department is going to handle the park beautification and urban garden money. So we have to do an agreement with them. Also with CDBG for home rehabilitation, we have to do an interagency agreement. So we've been working to get all these agreements done, like the engineer put the $200,000 in sidewalks. We have to do an agreement. So all of those are being prepared and ready to go. But we wanted to make sure we got through this so that we can get all those done. So it's taken up a lot of time and energy and effort. And to think that Baker Tilly said we're pretty in good shape compared to most cities. I'm like, this is the nth hour for us. But it sounds like everybody else is in the same boat. So that's where we're at.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone else wish to speak on this resolution? Having none, are there any further council comments? Councilman Cora?
Mr. President, this is the final installment of ARPA funds that we are spending now. And I just want to take a moment to reflect and see how this ARPA came about as we came out of the COVID pandemic. And the money has been a godsend for cities, counties, states that really helped us dig ourselves out of the pandemic. And I want to thank everybody who has been responsible for helping us through it, and particularly our Congressman Frank Mervan, who was really a strong advocate for our communities and he really helped us get this funding, and which was utilized for so many different purposes, as we are all aware. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Mullenhour?
Yeah, I really want to acknowledge Mayor Angie and her staff for, it seems like a really nice balance between spending on hard items that are going to have long-term positive effects for services for the community, and also a number of what I would call soft projects. So it's actually going to reach the residents of Michigan City down to the neighborhood level. So I think you all did an excellent job of balancing it out. So thank you very much.
Any other council comments? I have a couple comments in. One, reflecting back on Councilman Cora's comment with the federal government and President Biden and the administration passing $16 million down to Michigan City. And also, besides the city getting $16 million, I believe the school system got somewhere in the neighborhood of $26 million to provide for them. And, you know, all the other cities, not only in Indiana, but across the United States. And as the doctor said, and I'll agree, and I know the mayor will attest to this because she was on the council going through these times, you know, there was a time when we needed garbage trucks and we didn't have money for garbage trucks, but thank God for ARPA money where we could go out and buy garbage trucks. So I guess the bottom line is here, we would be in not bad shape, but we'd be looking for money to get things done. So, and we don't have all these different little buckets to take the money out of. So, yeah, and I think the mayor did a good job, and her and I had a couple of discussions on things, and she listened to what I had to say. And, you know, I was more on the side for customer service, looking at making sure the city has the equipment to take care of snow plows, take care of refuse pickup, whatever it takes. You got to have trucks to get things done. You have to have capital equipment to get things done. I want to make sure we have that, because once this money's gone, we can't go back. We certainly don't have enough money in the riverboat account to attest to all this type of equipment that we want. So, with that being said,
Make a motion. To adopt.
Dr. Cora made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Mullenhour? Okay. And Ms. Nyland on the vote?
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatry,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. And Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyland. And our next resolution by title only.
A resolution by title only, a resolution recognizing the efforts and the willingness of Governor Eric Holcomb, the state of Indiana, and the Indiana Department of Corrections to aid in economic development of the city of Michigan City. And this is introduced by Dr. Cora.
And does Councilman Cora have anything you'd like to add?
Mr. President, this is a nicely written resolution. Our attorney helped us draft this. If it is okay with you, I'd like to read this resolution into the record.
Go ahead.
Whereas the Indiana State Prison located at 1 Park Row in the city of Michigan City has been a fixture and a landmark on the city's northwest side since construction of the facility began in 1858. And whereas in recent years, the Indiana Department of Correction has determined that the Indiana State Prison is approaching or has exceeded its useful life unless extensive modernization and rehabilitation takes place. And whereas, according to the Indiana Department of Correction, has determined that the Indiana State Prison will be closed and its inmates transferred to a new facility located in the town of Westville, Indiana, following completion of the Westville facility in approximately 2027. And whereas the closure of the Indiana State Prison will leave the current facility and 24 acres upon which it is situated vacant and dormant in a geographical area that is critical to the future community and economic development of the city of Michigan City. And whereas accordingly, an advisory council consisting of elected officials, members of the various commissions and advocacy groups, and residents of the city of Michigan City and LaPorte County have been formed and tasked with the development of a master plan for redevelopment of the Indiana State Prison site. And whereas the most critical component of the master redevelopment plan is the acquisition by the city of Michigan City of the Indiana State Prison site itself, which currently remains in the ownership of the state of Indiana as it has been since 1858. And whereas Governor Eric Holcomb, on behalf of the state of Indiana and the Indiana Department of Correction, has recently issued a letter of intent signed jointly with our Mayor Angie Nelson Deutsch of the city of Michigan City, which confirms the willingness and intent of the state of Indiana to transfer ownership of the current Indiana State Prison facility and the site to the city of Michigan City for the purpose of redeveloping the site. And whereas in addition to the transfer of property, the state of Indiana has expressed a willingness to provide continuing and ongoing support for the redevelopment of the Indiana State Prison site by the city of Michigan City, and is expected to remain in partnership with the city for years to come with respect to this initiative. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Common Council of the city of Michigan City, Indiana, as follows. The Michigan City Common Council expresses its sincere and wholehearted gratitude to Governor Eric Holcomb, the Indiana Department of Corrections, and the state of Indiana for the recent acts in support and furtherance of the future redevelopment of the current Indiana State Prison site. Number 2, the Michigan City Common Council further expresses and pledges its ongoing support and partnership with the state of Indiana and the city of Michigan City administration and the recently appointed advisory council in support and furtherance of this redevelopment initiative. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this resolution?
Good evening again. So to give a little history and clear up some, people call and they say some stuff and you're like, what? So a couple of things. So let me step back to June of 2021. Um, you know, start mentioning this about the end of 2020, but 2021, I led an effort to submit Ready 1.0 for Michigan City. And in that document was the prison relocation study. It was our destination playground, and it was an infrastructure project that we're doing now. I'm a sore loser on not getting money for those, but so that was submitted June of 2021. I submitted it. Okay, people talking, whatever. So we were informed the fall that we're going to get money for the prison relocation study, and to the tune of $329,000. And I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot of money for a study if you're not moving, right? So last year when it's 2023, we're notified that it's more important to maybe consolidate the efforts of Westfield and ISP. So all this letter of intent really does is creates an opportunity for us to control our own destiny on that facility. It does not hold us accountable for incurring a bunch of debt, which that seems to be what the public believes. Myself, as the leader of this city, will not put the city in debt for it was going to cost them more than $500 million to rehabilitate this place. So the state, it's in their best interest to support the city and what happens to that site, because we're not going to put this on the backs of taxpayers, but we will be able to bring this on the tax roll. That's the difference. And I think what I will be doing over the next couple of years is working with the state and the federal government on securing money to create a special taxing district or wherever it is going to be. Because right now we don't get taxes off that facility. It's state run. We get $0 in property tax. I don't know if anybody knows that. So, what we'll be focusing on, and I would like the public to know that January 22nd, there is a public meeting about the prison right here in the chambers at 6 p.m. And there'll be a second meeting in the fall. And the steering committee has had their first meeting with Foreign Associates. So there is no debt that the city plans on incurring for this property. It is really going to be a partnership and working with Governor-elect Braun's administration on how we can secure funding after it closes. So it's going to be important that the council and myself and our administration that we are lockstep in deciding on how we want to move forward with that. So there's no debt by the city, none. I don't plan on incurring any debt by the city. And I think the process will work itself out over the next 18 months as far as what we would like to see there, and what it could possibly be. There's some environmental things. There's some great architectural, buildings on that site. We know there's a cemetery, but all the misinformation, it's all wrong, number one. But number two, we have to get through the process and get to that point. We're 3 or 4 years out, and then it's going to take another 10 years to develop the property. So, and maybe even more time to even clean it up. So there's a lot to it. This is not a quick thing. This is a decade long project. So I'm happy that Governor Holcomb, we've had many conversations. I've had the opportunity to talk to him about it, and I think this is good for us to make the decision, not somebody else to come in and do something to us with the property. So those are my comments. Any questions for me?
Mayor Angie, one of the things I wanted to mention was, I'm sure this is not the first time or the first place something like this has happened. I'm sure in other communities, similar things have happened. And the advisory council probably, with the help of the consultant, should look into various things different communities have done in terms of what they did and how they financed it, wherein there was no burden on our city's taxpayers, but at the same time utilize this opportunity to get this back on the property tax rolls. And I think there is a great opportunity for us to do it. I know it's a long-term plan, but I think if we have a good plan and execute it properly, I think it'll be good for the city of Michigan City.
And I will share with the council, we did receive, there are a couple of prisons that have closed down in the last decade or so. I'll send that information to you as well so that you can read up on those. So we do have that information, and the steering committee does as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this resolution?
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I know this is going to be back on the tax rolls someday, but I do want, it should be noted that the prison is our largest water bill customer in the city. Mayor Angie mentioned that before. Now, that's going to be a good thing. We're not going to have any more executions. They're going to execute a man in a few hours from now. And I want to wish well to those that are responsible for carrying out the execution tonight. I want to mention, with the loss of employment at the prison and as well as the closure of the NIPSCO plant, this is going to be a big hit on the Michigan City area schools as far as, the tax revenue that comes in. There are pros and cons to it both. I'm glad there's not going to be the inhumane living conditions. I hope the living conditions at the new prison in Westville is going to be better for the men. So just my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this resolution?
Hello, Council. Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. It's a great opportunity for Michigan City, clearly. In its long history, it opened in 1860, I believe, the prison. It actually housed Confederate prisoners of war during the Civil War. It's really hard to imagine that. Could you imagine being a young man from Georgia or Alabama spending winter in prison on the shores of Lake Michigan in 1862 or something? It's really hard to imagine. And as Tommy mentioned, sadly, I say, we're about to execute a man there after midnight today. It's kind of a sad footnote to end that way. There hasn't been an execution there in 15 years. The person who's being executed committed his crime over 25 years ago. In my estimation, it doesn't really serve as a deterrent, and it's kind of sad that it's happening at this point. Kind of interesting bookends of that 165-year history, though. And Tommy brings up a good point about the employment and losing our biggest water customer. But opportunity presents itself, and I really hope that we seize the moment and do something great there. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Any council comments? Any council comments? Councilwoman Tracy Tillman?
Motion to support. Motion to support.
There's a motion. Dr. Cord, did you say? Okay, I didn't see I can't see your light because your presence in the way. There you go. Thank you. Yeah. There's a motion and a second. Ms. Nyla, to vote.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
and Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Our next resolution by title only.
A resolution by title only, reconfirming the continued designation of the economic revitalization area with the city of Michigan City and the extension of tax abatement benefits as permitted thereunder through December 31st, 2026. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Ms. Tillman, Mr. Preselinski, and Mr. Beatrice.
And do the authors have anything they'd like to add at this time? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Having none, any further council comments?
Motion to support?
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Tillman,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Dabney. Ms. Nylam on the vote?
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
and Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nylam. Our next resolution by title only.
A resolution by title only approving and adopting the 2040 Economic Strategic Action Plan developed by the Economic Development Corporation of Michigan City. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
And does the author have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I would like to ask Mr. Clarence Holst to come up and talk about the next two resolutions. Actually, this one is about approving the strategic action plan, and then the next one talking about vibrant Michigan City. He will give information about these two resolutions coming up. Thank you, Clarence.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Halls, yeah, Clarence, just talk on the first resolution,
Okay.
then we vote on it, and then we talk on the second one.
Okay.
Okay,
Clarence Hall, CDCMC Director, 2 Cadence Park Plaza. Every 5 to 7 years, we look at where the city is going economically. And as things, everybody knows things do change, economy goes up and down, and we have to adjust accordingly. And we adjust along the way, but we try and find ways to put it in writing, and then we start over and enhance the current plan. So 23, we start looking into how to make our city better and look at the strategies we're currently employing and how we improve the ones we into the future. So we hired a firm, we had a number of community meetings. Some of you were involved in those meetings over a year, and we came with a plan. It's called the Michigan City Economic Strategic Action Plan for 2040. We were going to do 2030, but realized 2030 is right here. So we decided to push that a little further because a lot of plans are really long term. They take 3 to 4 or 5 years before they take root and actually come to fruition. So this plan, having worked with the council, the citizens, different nonprofits, the mayor, the community, we want to make sure, and the business community also was involved. We want to make sure when we want to start going for grants, when the question they ask is this something the city supports? And so we need to make sure the city understands, or city council understands what's in this plan. I do have a presentation if you want to see it, but I can do it after the next. It combines both resolution, but it talks about where we are now, where we want to grow, the type of business, type of companies, the housing that's coming to the city, how we're going to grow with the double track. So it involves all those components. Education, how do we enhance our education sector? The mayor has an initiative with the hub in terms of how to make the workforce hub and how to make that work better and enhancing our adult education, connecting the schools to business. So it involves all those things. And so it's not one item, it's very comprehensive in nature. So any questions from the council?
any questions of the council? Mr. Halls? Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak on this resolution? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Having none, any council comments?
Motion to approve. Support.
Motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Nelson. Ms. Nylam on the vote?
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nylam. And our next resolution by title only.
Resolution by title only, approving and adopting the Vibrant Michigan City Economic Prosperity for All plan developed by the Economic Development Corporation of Michigan City. And this is also introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, and just as we did with the last resolution, Mr. Holst will come up and speak about this. And I was told he may bring friends down with him. that he talks about this.
Yes, as you see, I'm modeling a shirt tonight, Vibrant Michigan City. I want to make sure that everybody who is here from the both Vibrant Michigan City and the Neighborhood Leadership Program, please stand so the council knows who you are. Now, I'll talk a little bit about what happened and why you guys are wearing this shirt. So, council, this is the first class at the Neighborhood Leadership Program. They spent 8 weeks in class learning about the city and how to make the city work better and improve our neighborhoods. And so part of the plan is to use some of the ARPA funds to help have a contest to have better homes and gardens and lighted homes next year. So we're excited to help people want to improve our community. And so this group, we had over 27 people graduated over 8 weeks of class. We had department heads, nonprofits, and different community leaders come and speak on how to improve our community. And so it was well received, I thought, as you can ask the class themselves, but we hope to have another class next April. And so this is exciting for us because, again, we're trying to make sure our community grows our leaders from internally. And so when we need people to sit on boards, they understand how the city works, they understand how to get things done. And so we're excited about this because this is one of the initiatives we did 2022-23, we were part of a group that was put together by LISC, which is a national nonprofit, and Brooks Institute. We spent a year working in the three areas of the city: West Side, East Side, and Midtown. And how do we make sure we improve those areas of the city? And so part of that now is how do we do things and make it organic? So it's from bottom up, not top down, and making sure people understand how to improve the neighborhoods and how do we provide funding, access, and resources to make that happen. So again, we're looking for grants to do these things, to vote for the city, the neighborhoods, nonprofits. And so part of that is we have a playbook that was nationally rolled out by this group. And so we're trying to make sure that, again, the council supports this. And once we go for grants and you support this, it gave us additional points. And so thank you again. Questions?
Any questions of the council from Mr. Hulse? No.
Easy peasy. Again, the previous resolution and this one, definitely in full support. I do believe that this is an opportunity for Michigan City residents to make decisions for their neighborhoods. I think with the ARPA funds and supporting the Eastport Neighborhood Association, Elston Grove, through this process and establishing a new West Side organization, and hopefully some more organizations organically pop up through this Neighborhood Leadership Academy. Their projects, listening to some of their projects, and I think the more people that are engaged in their neighborhoods, first of all, crime goes down. It directly impacts crime, beautification projects, ownership. We need to also provide some support around understanding home ownership and what that looks like and what that means. And I think what this has really done is awaken people, because COVID, we had the first class, and a lot of those people, because of COVID, we didn't get through the process, and they still came back the second time. And I think that's important because they want to be involved. And I think with the boards and commissions, now we can spread the wealth instead of having 1 or 2 people on 3, 4, 5 boards. Now you got a whole audience full of people who should be applying for these boards and commissions now, that are engaged, that are learning about our government. So I just think that both of the plans, the 2040 plan specifically around workforce development, that includes the work we're doing with the Opportunity Hub at Elston. And then, we're the air compressor capital of the Midwest. And we need to really, really look at emerging technologies as an opportunity at that location. And so, again, thank you for supporting. Thank you all for showing up to some of the events and the meetings. These are fluid documents that everything that I'm doing with grants, I'm referring to Vibrant Michigan City. And I'm presenting tomorrow to the forum about our 2040 plan, our Vibrant Michigan City plan, and some of the things that we're doing in Michigan City. So we use that as our guiding light as we move through these grants and these projects. And hey, we know we need to move Michigan City forward. We need residents to buy into it. So thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Having none, any further council comments? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, I just want to congratulate the people who went through this program 8 weeks, and doing this is a real time commitment to do this, and I like the fact that it really gives the people a chance to learn how city government works. You get a chance to see some of the ins and outs, how things are approved, and what it takes to pass the different ordinances, resolutions, and how you guys are going to be working to improve the neighborhoods and that. Because you can go out to Facebook and you can find alternative ways on how to improve the city. And I laugh as I say that. But I'm really happy that you guys came in and took part in this class and to see how things really work. And we expect you, as the mayor just said, you'll be able to start applying for some of these boards, commissions, and things of that sort to really help us move Michigan City forward. So thank you guys for that time commitment that you put in to do this class. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Beatrice?
I agree with everything that Brian said, but the thing that's amazing to me is that these last two resolutions are relatively small. They're one-page resolutions, but the work behind them is voluminous. The 2040 plan is huge and loaded with great ideas and great things. And Vibrant Michigan City, that's not a one-pager. That's a volume of inspiration and perspiration and just great ideas that everyone should look at and everyone should read. And we owe all of you gratification and support, and you certainly are going to have it tonight from me. Thank you for all the work that you did. It's inspiring.
Thank you, Councilman. One comment I have is that for the folks that took part in the Vibrant Michigan City organization and the meetings and all the time and dedication, that there's an old saying that I've always lived with, and hopefully you'll live with it, that to make the difference, you have to be the difference. You have to be the one that gets involved. You have to be the one to have a nice neighborhood. If you see code violations, you have to be the one to call them in to say, hey, this person's grass is so high, or this house over here is dilapidated. That's what it's all about, getting involved and making Michigan City a better place to live. You just can't stand by and let things just go on as they used to, because you got to be the ones to make the difference. Just like when I get up in the morning, I'm trying to think of what I can do today to make Michigan City a better place for everybody. So, all right, with that being, so thank you. So thank you for being involved. With that being said, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to support.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Tillman, and
Or
a second by who? Councilman Beatrice? Okay. There's neither one to vote.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and Mr. Beatrice.
aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Our next resolution by title only.
A resolution by title only approving submission of application for a grant from the City of Michigan City to FEMA for their assistance to firefighters grant and supporting the local match for said grant. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski, Ms. Lee, and Mr. Beatrice.
And do the authors have anything they'd like to add at this time? Councilwoman Lee?
Yeah, thank you. So this is a resolution for the grant that Mayor Angie was talking about earlier, $1 million for a new fire truck. And then there would be a $274,000 match from the redevelopment commission from Michigan City.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Chief, I'd like you to, because I'm a sponsor also, but I'd like you to come up here and share the conversation that you and I had about the lead time on these pumper trucks, the cost of the pumper trucks, and this grant is basically going to cover the cost of a $1.3 million pumper truck.
I have a, so I have a quote here for $1,274,900, and that quote would be good until December 27th of this month, or so of this year. And with that, the build out time of these trucks are running, as he puts on here, 35 to 38 months, depending on what kind of truck you get. Ladders probably take a little longer because it's a bigger truck, but you're looking at 3 years, give or take a couple, 3 or 4 months. And the problem we have right now is the one we're looking to replace will be 12 years old here coming up in the next, might even be 12 at this point. So with that lead out time, that build time for these vehicles, we're looking at it's going to be 15, 16 years old by the time we get a replacement. And this specific truck right now, the idea of it is we get a replacement. And what this is my feeling why we need to move on this as soon as possible, because me and the mayor have talked about this over the past several months. Because of the build time of these things, the vehicle we're looking to replace actually has some issues right now. And the idea is to get it replaced and it can become a spare. But the problem is with some of these problems that the vehicle has, and we're looking at in the next 3 to 5 years without doing anything to that truck, you're looking at putting anywhere from $350,000 to $400,000 into that vehicle to keep it going. So in reality, by the time we get a replacement in the next 3 years, that vehicle might not even be usable. We just have to wait and see. So that's why we're wanting to move on this now. And the increases of the vehicles is every 3 to 4 months they're increasing. And in the year of 2023, they had a 12% increase overall. And this year they were looking, when we spoke with the rep from the company 5-6 months ago, they were looking at possibly about a 14% raise overall this year, an increase. So it's, obviously the prices aren't going down, it's going to keep going up. Obviously this $1 million, this $1.274 million, we could probably trim that down a little bit, but you're still going to be looking at about 1.2 million. So that's where we're sitting with that. And there is a prepay, which we've talked about before over the years. If you pay for it, we can order today, right? If you ordered it today, the price is locked in to what it would cost today, not what it costs when it's delivered in 3 years. All right. But if we pay it off before then, you can pay off over time. If you pay it off before the delivery, you'll get approximately a 5% discount. So that is some money we say we could put towards tools and stuff to put on the truck, because the truck will come equipped with some things. Obviously there's some things we're going to have to put on there. I don't have a list of that. We were going to get that from the training officer. Deputy Chief was going to get that from the training officer because he's the one that outfitted the vehicle, the last one that we got, and was going to get that to the mayor. I don't know if he has done that. He didn't tell me if he did or not. He'd been busy today and got some things going on. So if anybody would like that and would like that emailed to them, I can let you know what a rough bit of cost might be on top of that. But other than that, I don't have anything else unless you got anything specific else to ask me.
Any questions for the chief? Okay, great explanation, sir.
And I'll add, so we won't be able to order, but so the grant will be, I think the notifications are in March. But we did put a contingency in there for any increase that will come about. And then they say any money that's left over, we can utilize it for other things for the fire department. So once we submit it, the deadline is this week. And then I think we'll start hearing in February if we got it or not. And I did ask, the redevelopment commission is pending this approval. They're going to have on their agenda for the match. One of the things that's new this year for redevelopment commissions, they have to submit a budget, and I asked them to have a line item for public health and safety, so that if a grant pops up like this, we have the opportunity to go get it and have the funds for it. I know I've been asking them for a lot lately, but I asked them to put it in their budget so that we can jump on it and act on it and not have to worry about appropriating additional money from the city council or from the budget or Riverboat or rainy day. So it's just a good way for us to act on grants more faster and more efficiently by doing that. So So hopefully we'll get it. I did receive a letter of support from Congressman Frank Mervan's office this morning. So we'll have that, and I'm hopeful that we can push it through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Are there any public comments on this resolution? Any public comments? Any public comments? Having none, any further council comments? Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, I just want to take a quick minute to kind of tie some of this up, big picture, as to what we have going on. Ever since the mayor was sworn in, she's been doing budget workshops, public hearings, and talking about, the financial state of the city. And we all know that we had to cut some money out of our budget. And so now we're trying to build reserves. And this is important because what our chief just said, we have a fire truck that's 12 years old. So now we're trying to do things that the mayor has identified in terms of fixing our budget so that we build these reserves so we can start to make these purchases down the line where we don't have to wait 12 years to replace fire trucks and things of that sort. So it's all tying together. And I just wanted to create that picture because a lot of people have heard the mayor give the budget status and talk about that. And this is a perfect example of what's going on here and why we're doing that. And she's making those hard cuts now that we're supporting as a council in order for us to move forward in the future, to build those reserves, to be able to make these purchases down the line so that we can start running this thing, more smoothly than we have in the past. So that is just something I wanted to talk about to kind of tie the whole big picture up for a lot of the people that are here and hopefully the people that are watching at home to see exactly what we're doing, what the mayor's doing, and with the support of our council here as well. Thank you.
Any further council comments? The only comment I have is we have a grant for $1.2 million that we'll probably get. We have a fire truck that's going to cost $1.2 million. So it's not going to cost the city really anything. And I know that we're gonna pass this without a doubt. And it makes sense. You have a 12-year-old truck now, you could have a 15-year-old truck when the new truck comes in, and we're saving $1 million. We'll be able to use that $1 million for raises, for benefits, whatever we need. So with that being said, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve by Dr. Cora and seconded by Councilman Nelson. Ms. Nylam on the vote.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
And Ms. Nylam, our next resolution by title only.
A resolution by title only, approving and authorizing the 2025 union contract between the Michigan City Firefighters Local 475 and the City of Michigan City, Indiana. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Mr. Prespolinski, Ms. Tillman, and Mr. Beatrice.
Any of the authors have anything they'd like to add at this time? No, I don't have anything. Authors don't have anything. Any public comment on this resolution? Any public comment on this resolution? Any public comment on this resolution? Any further council comments? Councilman Dabney?
Yep, this is pretty straightforward. Just approving the firefighters union contract for 2025.
Okay.
If we have no other comments, I'd make a motion to approve.
Support.
There's a motion to approve and seconded by Councilwoman Tracy Tillman. Ms. Nylam on the vote.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nylam. And under ordinances, our one and only ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, creating Article 2 in Chapter 18 of the Michigan City Municipal, Code to be known as regulation of the drones in the city limits. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Ms. Moldenauer, and Mr. Prespolinski.
And do the authors have anything they'd like to add tonight? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, and the people who were here from the beginning of the meeting, one of our city attorneys came up and talked about that we're going to drop sponsorship of this ordinance, so it falls off the agenda because they want to rewrite this ordinance moving forward. They see some improvements and some other things that they can do with this. So rather than do amendments by substitution, because those could be very lengthy, and then try to fit them into this ordinance, we're going to drop the sponsorship right now of this ordinance, and then they will rewrite and move forward as the proper ordinance in their mind comes up.
Yeah, and the way the process goes is that each one of the sponsors has to drop their sponsorship. And then if there's any, and this here's a learning moment, okay, and that we'll drop our sponsorships one by one. And then if there's anybody from the council willing to pick this up, then they can say, yeah, I'll pick it up. And if nobody says anything, then it's dropped and it's over with. Okay.
Okay.
So with that being said, I believe Mr. Dabney dropped his sponsorship, Councilwoman Mollenauer.
I dropped my sponsorship.
And I also dropped my sponsorship. Is there any other council members that would like to pick this ordinance up? Any other council members like to pick this ordinance up? Any other council members like to pick this ordinance up? Having none, this ordinance will be dropped, and we will wait for the new ordinance to be presented to the council.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Okay, under new business, an FYI, the city council has one appointment to the Veterans Commission. The incumbent is Connie Anderson, with the current term ending on 12/31/2024. Under unfinished business, the council has two appointments to the Redevelopment Commission. Incumbents are Tracy Tillman and Cherie Wilson, with the current term ending on 12/31/2024. So the nominations for the vote are Tracy Tillman, Cherie Wilson, Kathy Dennis, and Nick Pollack. And Terrell, question for you. Can we vote two at a time, or does it that you vote one at a time and then go from there?
They should be individually done.
Okay. Okay, for the for Tracy Tillman. Ms. Nylam on the vote?
Mr. Beatry?
Aye.
Is that right?
Oh, we did.
That isn't right.
Give you a name?
I think you need to do two and then the
Yeah.
highest one and then go over to that one. Do you know what I'm saying? Or all
No,
four?
I can give you a name.
When you have four, what you do is you vote and the two highest vote get it for you.
So we're gonna do them all.
Correct.
Okay, all right. That isn't how I took it, but okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, Mr. Beatry? You said Miss Tillman.
Tillman.
Miss Tillman.
Okay. Mr. Coulter?
I'm a little turned around. So
See?
we're filling two seats.
Right.
So we're voting for one seat and then we.
One seat.
Vote for one seat.
Yep.
You vote for one seat. Then you vote for the other. You don't do two at a time.
Right. Right.
So I'm slightly confused on where the confusion is. I can better explain if I understand.
Okay, just go around twice. Go ahead.
We go around twice. Okay.
I understand it.
I'll vote for Tracy Tillman.
Okay. Mr. Dabney?
Tillman.
Dr. Cora?
Aye for Mrs. Tillman.
Okay. Can I explain it? I think. Okay, Dr. Cora,
Aye for Ms. Tillman.
Miss Lee,
Tracy Tillman.
Miss Moldenauer,
Ms. Tillman,
Mr. Nelson,
Ms. Tillman.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Tracy Tillman.
and Tracy. Ms.
Ms.
Tillman.
Tillman.
Okay, so now we're going to Sherry Wilson. Mr. Beatrice.
No, you're just asking me for a name.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you Sherry.
you can vote for anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
vote for any of the three, but I'm.
I see where the confusion is. I see where the confusion
Okay,
is.
so we're voting for all four. The
Yeah.
first four will, whoever gets the highest votes, then we go down to one. So we're gonna have 4 votes.
Yeah.
There will be 4 votes, correct?
Okay,
But no, there doesn't need to be 4 votes. We just each need to vote. Like I could vote now for either Sherry Wilson, Kathy Dennis, or Nick Pollock.
Right.
I just give you a name and you write it down.
And then the next person,
Right.
the same thing. And then the next person.
Yeah.
but when you get down to here, there won't be anything open. This is for the resident too,
Yeah.
Right, because it's a,
and whether it's Republican or Democrat. Correct.
correct, it's, correct. That's why I mean, we take them one at a time. We're voting for one seat, not one person.
Right.
That's what we just did. We just voted, we just filled one seat. Now we're gonna fill the second seat.
Yeah.
Is this one for the Republican, the Democrat, or the business?
No, this isn't you.
Not for this.
Oh, this is, okay, urban enterprise. Never mind, okay. All right, so now we have Miss Tillman on here, right? She won first seat.
Correct. Now we're voting for the second seat.
Your choices are.
Okay, Mr. Beatrice,
You got it.
Sherry Wilson.
Mr. Councilman Coulter,
Sheree Wilson.
who did we say?
Sure it is.
Okay, Mr. Dabney,
Wilson.
Dr. Cora,
Sherry Wilson.
Miss Lee,
Sheree Wilson.
Miss Moldenauer,
Sheree Wilson,
Mr. Nelson,
Wilson.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Wilson.
and Miss Tillman.
Ms. Wilson.
So those are the two that won is,
So those are the 2. Now we're finished.
okay, we're done.
So, Madam Clerk, maybe I didn't explain that properly, or explain it clear enough. You vote for each individual position at a time.
Right,
So as we're going to UEZ, up next, you would vote for the business representative, then you would vote for a single resident, and then you would vote for a single resident position.
Right,
All the positions are voted for individually.
right.
That's what I mean.
May I speak on something here for the next one?
okay, so the
Go
first
ahead.
one we are voting on,
All right. Because what we have, and this is moving on. Well, let's first confirm the 2 people that are we done with that one now. Because I'm talking about now the urban enterprise. Because we have to do a Democrat and a Republican. Am I correct?
Right.
We have one Republican in the
Not technically. You don't have, well, you don't technically have to do a Democrat and Republican. They just can't be of the same party. Now, I know that in practice, that just means, well, one's gonna be a Democrat, one's gonna be a Republican, but you can have somebody who's not affiliated with either party. So it's not that it has to be a representative of each party. It's just that 2 people can't represent the same party. And I know that sounds very lawyerish, but
it could be an
the
independent.
lawyer. So
It could be an independent.
correct. The way that that's classified under law is if a person were to not vote in primary elections, this is all categorized under Indiana law in Title 36. To be an independent or claim independence, one has to have either never voted in a primary election in Indiana or have split primary election votes their last 2 primaries that they voted in. The way that affiliation works under Indiana law for purposes of nomination for any governmental boards is the 2 most recent primaries that have been voted in. If they were for the same party, then you are affiliated by voting with that party. So whereas you would think it's, well, one Republican, one Democrat. No, it's just, it can't be two Democrats. It can't be two Republicans.
Okay, so out of all of these, are any of them not going to be voted
Well,
that don't fit the criteria of like?
yes. So the first slot to be voted for would be the business representative. As I understand, there are two who qualify as business representatives. One would be Mr. Pollock.
Okay.
One would be, as I understand from speaking with Councilman Coulter, Ms. Willis would also qualify as a business representative as she operates a business within the zone, an actual organized business within the zone. So there are two who can qualify under that particular slot.
Okay.
The next would be a resident in the zone for one political party and a resident in the zone for a separate political party or no party.
Okay, so we want to
Okay.
do the vote for business. And the vote is either for Nick Pollock or for Wendy Willis.
Correct.
Okay,
Mr. President.
okay, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Mr. Beatrice,
Wendy Willis.
Mr. Coulter,
Wendy Willis.
Mr. Dabney,
Pollock.
Dr. Cora,
Nick Pollock.
Miss Lee,
Wendy Willis.
Miss Moldenauer,
Pollock.
Mr. Nelson,
Willis.
Mr. Preselinski,
Pollock.
and Miss Tillman.
Pollock.
We have 5 for Mr. Pollock and 4 for Miss Willis. Okay, so now we are going to the next one. And are all these, everyone on this list? Okay,
Willie Crump is not okay.
okay,
Tina Mahone is not okay.
okay. So we are either voting for Dakota Euler, Sheila Moyer, or Sal Dunlap. Okay, all right,
Who was that? Gail?
who?
I know you said Sheila Moyer, Sal Dunlap, and who was the other one?
Dakota Euler. Or who?
Oh,
Or you could vote for,
Or Wendy
Oh,
Willis.
Wendy Willis.
Still qualifies because she's a resident in the zone.
okay. Okay, hold on. I should have made more papers. Okay, Mr. Beatrice.
What did you say? He was retired.
Dakota Euler, Sheila Moyer, Sal Dunlop, Wendy Willis.
Wendy Willis.
Okay, Greg Coulter,
Wendy Willis.
Brian Dabney,
Sheila Moyer.
Dr. Cora,
Wendy Willis.
Miss Lee,
Wendy Willis.
Miss Moldenauer,
Sheila Moyer.
Mr. Nelson,
Wendy?
Mr. Preselinski,
Sheila Moyer.
and Miss Tillman.
Miss Willis.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Wendy. 2, 3, 4. We have 6 for Miss Willis and 3 for Sheila Moyer. Okay, so now do we have to look and see?
Yes, so the only other nominated party or the nominated person who fits the criteria would be Dakota Euler, and the council member could vote for Mr. Euler or abstain from the vote.
So he's the only one to fit.
He's the only other person who fits the qualification.
Okay. Mr. Beatrice, abstain. Mr. Coulter,
Abstain.
Mr. Dabney,
Abstain.
Dr. Cora,
Dakota Euler.
Ms. Lee,
Abstain.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Abstain.
Mr. Nelson,
Abstain.
Mr. Preselinski,
Well, this is America. You're supposed to vote for somebody, so it's Dakota Euler.
Ms. Tillman.
Abstain.
All right, we have 7 abstained and 2 in favor.
Mr. Euler gets it with his votes.
He gets it.
Mhm.
Nope.
You got the only vote.
Because an abstention doesn't qualify as a no vote. It just
Okay, it just
qualifies as a nullity. So he gets 2 votes.
I think all the years have been there. Okay, what is next on our agenda?
Something I didn't know. Nah, that's a. Okay, moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don. Can I don't know if I should do this maybe in council comment, but because we have the different departments that come and give their report, their yearly report of what's going on, and I was going to ask while we're on this topic, or go ahead and move on. I'll bring it up in council comment.
Okay. Moving on. Unfinished business. The votes are over, done with. Congratulations to the winners. Yep. Nominations. The council has 2 appointments to the revolving loan committee. And we are still working on that. Any comments from the public?
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. It's been quite a year. I just want to wish you all a happy Christmas and a New Year's, and I hope it's a lot better next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. Merry Christmas.
Good evening, Council. Nick Pollock, 211 Ann Street, Michigan City. I just want to thank everybody for their consideration for my reappointment to the Urban Enterprise Zone this evening. The current board members for the UEZ, I believe, are making great strides. We have some big things that we've been planning for the UEZ moving forward, and I'm happy that I get to continue that mission. Thank you.
Yeah, Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I want to congratulate Councilwoman Tracy Tillman and Sherry Wilson. They both received their Christmas wish to continue to be the redevelopment commish. I want to congratulate also the lovely Miss Linda Simmons. She's going to be retiring from her position as the Director of Marketing of the LaPorte County Visitors Bureau. I wish her, many and her husband Gene, a very long and happy retirement years together. I want to mention they're going to be playing a football game on Friday night over in South Bend. It's going to be Notre Dame and the Indiana University Hoosiers. I know the IU football team, like Notre Dame's road opponent typically does, they stay at Blue Chip, and I believe they might be holding a practice session at Ames Field like the teams always do. So that's always an exciting thing. Braden Fisk, he was named the NFL Rookie of the Month in November for the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are now in first place in the NFL West, so I think they're going to end up getting themselves a playoff spot. The Michigan City Wolves boys basketball team, they're off to a 4-0 start. They said if they beat Mishawaka, it'll be their first 5-0 start since consolidation. I know the Marquette girls basketball team, I think they're ranked number 7 in 1A. I know they went over and played in a tournament. They only lost 2 games to 2 schools that 10 times their enrollment. I want to wish them continued success. I think they play a game tomorrow. I might go check out. Just to wish you all a happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And another thing I wanted to mention, I watched the LaPorte County Council meeting. I know I complained about this earlier this year. There's going to be a little bit of development going on at the St. Anthony site. I know that the two lots they have across the street at Wabash and Ann, they're donating that property to the Drug Free Partnership of LaPorte County, and they're gonna be putting in a drug rehab respite facility for men at that location. So if they come up and want any kind of help from the city council on that regarding something that's very much needed here in Michigan City. So I wanna, I'm happy that they're finally starting to develop that land. It's right in my neighborhood. I just wanna thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Hello, I'm Luke Stigler, 110 Felton Street. I spoke with Mr. Coulter a couple times in the last few days. I've spoke with the city inspectors, and I've spoken with someone from the mayor's office recently, a young lady at the front desk. I can't remember her name. Isabel, thank you. At the corner of Second Street and Center Street, the old Tom and Blank building, there was a permit drawn from that property, I believe 2.5 years ago, to do some demolition work. That demolition work was done partially. They removed the roof, they removed the northern wall of the building, they removed the western wall of the building. Tom and Blank maintained that building to some degree. They maintained that property to a fairly decent degree. If you look on Google Earth, historically, you'll notice the roof of the building shows no degradation from 2005 to 2020. When the current owners took possession of that building and they did that work, when they destroyed the roof partially and those walls, they opened that building up to winds. Since they've done that, it's continually blown fiberglass insulation, mastic roofing all over public right-of-ways, public property. When they blew that protective sheet metal siding off of the windows, it spread that insulation, which is, and the fiberglass insulation itself is not harmful, but it has absorbed whatever contaminants were in that building. The mastic siding itself could date back as far as 1929 when the building was put up. Mastic siding could have a number of different toxins in it. I don't want to use any buzzwords that are going to cause stir, but it's, asbestos could be, there's just a number of things that could be in those things. That's one of the auxiliary ways that we get down to Washington Park when there's an issue with the bridge. It's one of the ways we get from the, I guess, Sheridan Beach neighborhood, whatever, I don't know, cliche name we want to give the neighborhood now, down to the casino. I feel so blessed to have such great municipal leadership and to live in an area where our environmental interests align with our economic interests. And you guys are a part of that, but there has to be some accountability. We have so many people coming into our area and bringing so much money and so much interest into the development of this area. And so much of that is environmental. And I'm so grateful for that. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 9-year-old, I have a 16-year-old, and I'd like to access that waterway. Our waterways are no longer places that we tell people to stay away from. They're no longer like dead zones, They're recreational areas, they're bright areas, they're vibrant areas.
Sir, if you could summarize.
Yeah, so my point is the city has hammers at its disposal. The property owners have not been responsive to the inspectors. The inspectors have issued fines. The inspectors have been pretty persistent with them. The owners don't do anything. So I would like the council to put some pressure to do whatever it can. I would like the city to use the municipal hammers available at its disposal. I think the legal term we would use would say it's an attractive nuisance. It's a public health hazard. It's a safety hazard. So I think that your council attorney can talk the attractive nuisance aspect of it. So.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep. And I have 147 different pictures that I took a half an hour before I came here today.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Sheree Wilson, 1030 Liberty Trail, Redevelopment Commission member. I'd like to thank all of you for voting for me today. It means a lot to me. And the fact that you guys voted with confidence for my, my skill base. So it means really a lot. So, like to continue working for Redevelopment Commission, continue in the footsteps of my father as a legacy. And I just want to thank you guys a lot. So it means a lot to me. So Merry Christmas. And if you guys need anything, don't hesitate. Y'all have my number. Y'all have my email. Reach out. I'm willing to help. Thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. Merry Christmas to you also. Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Okay. Council comments. Councilman Cora?
Mr. President, we discussed a lot of resolutions today, and a lot of them have very good ideas. Everything that is great and wonderful, everything starts with an idea, then it gets on paper, and then ultimately it becomes reality over a period of time. So I'm looking forward to all of these plans becoming realities in the years ahead. And I really am grateful for the participation. I know a lot of them have left the Vibrant Michigan City participants. So I want to thank them all for their participation, because I think that participation will make our community great. And I also wanted to thank the mayor and her team for all the grant applications they keep on making. This is wonderful to be able to get all these resources into our community. That way it doesn't fall only on the taxpayers. So I think they're making full use and taking advantage of all the grant applications. And I also want to thank all the employees and staff of the City of Michigan City for their hard work over this year. And I want to wish them all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I want to wish all the citizens of Michigan City a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And lastly, I do want to share that I have some fond memories working with Mayor Beeler over the years, and I extend my condolences to the Beeler family. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Cora. Councilwoman Mullenhour?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to acknowledge that Soul Power just completed a graduation of a new class. They had their ceremony just this past Friday. And Soul Power is the program that trains individuals to become solar panel installer assistants, okay? So this is tier 1. They've completed that. We had 10 people that graduated this past Friday, and there are 30 plus people that are still on the wait list to be a part of this program. This originally came about by a collaborative grant that was written by the NAACP, the Michigan City Sustainability Commission, and Just Transition Northwest Indiana. And it's this grant that Mayor Angie spoke that we didn't receive. So they're looking for funding to be able to continue this program. These graduates have completed their OSHA certification and they've completed their core course. So now they move on to tier 2. So they'll continue their training through tier 3. So I really want to congratulate them. This also has been a partnership with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Work One, and Ivy Tech. So this just shows what's possible when a collaborative, cooperative effort comes together in providing new job opportunities for residents of Michigan City and Northwest Indiana. And also we're providing a workforce that doesn't have enough people to provide the labor for moving into the solar age. So thank you very much.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, what I was getting at, but what I'm going to do is actually work with the clerk's office to find out, because I know when we talked about forming these boards and commissions and things of that sort, they would be coming before us to give us reports of what they've done over the year, what's going on. So I'm going to talk with the clerk's office to find out who has and who hadn't, because I can't recall them over this last year, and then put an email out to try to request that, you know, maybe before changeover or even after changeover, whatever, they can come and give us some type of report of what they've been doing throughout the year. How productive have they been?
Okay, thank you. And I can respond. The Urban Enterprise Association, I know I was talking to the young man who's president of the board. And he said that he would be here shortly after the first of the year, giving the report on that group. So, yeah. But I agree with you. I think I know that when we gave some organizations, some boards, riverboat money, I think it was Mayor Meir, I think, divvied up, gave out $50,000, and we gave out $10,000 to each group. And then they came back and reported to the city council as far as what they did with the money. So I don't know where those groups are at now. And I'm sure they don't have any more money left that we gave them, because that was like 5 years ago. So, but yeah, good point. I think we need to investigate that. Councilwoman Tillman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just would like to also thank the county council for the unanimous nomination for EDC, and I greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to serving the community and the future development of the city of Michigan City.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Daisy Lee.
Thank you. I would like to clarify some comments earlier about the prison. There was some mention about job loss in the city. I'm on the commission or the committee to help redevelop that site, and we were offered a tour of the new prison site. It's still under construction. But one of the questions I did ask when I was there was if there would be any job loss in Michigan City, and they said they guaranteed that there was not any job loss from Michigan City. There were just going to be lateral transfers, even some promotions. So we won't lose any jobs here.
Thank you. Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. President. So first I want to congratulate everybody that won their election or re-election to the 2 committees that we had up for vote today. And second, I wanted to parrot Mr. Stigler's comments about the old Tenant Lake building. Because at first you can drive by and it seems a little tidy. But when you look a little closer, it's a problem for sure. And then considering its close location to Trail Creek and the significance of Trail Creek to our tourist economy, as well as to just our drinking water, like let's not forget about that. Definitely something that we need to look into. So 2 more things that I wanted to say really quickly. I just wanted to congratulate all the other new people on the city council on I think we've minimized the embarrassments, so good job. And then secondly, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy holidays.
Thank you. Any other council comments? I have a few comments. Number one, the school system invited all the council members to the One City, One Sound Christmas program, and I took the opportunity to attend that. And I think it was last Wednesday. Superintendent Wyndham McCollum did a fantastic job, and all the music teachers and all the students and all the musicians, and they did a fantastic job. I think this year here has been the best year ever as far as the singing and the instruments being played by the young teenagers, and they did a fantastic job. So I want to thank the school system for the invitation, and the Parks Department. I want to thank them again for the magical job that they did down in Washington Park. It's beautiful. I know that they have changed all the light bulbs from whatever they were before they put LED in there, but all the lights that are down in the park now are LED lights. So that's why they're so much brighter. And yeah, they look great. So thanks to the Park Department and Pat Volz. And I know I gave everyone got a copy of the report that we took to Hobart for the CNG trucks. You should have it in your packet. I thought, yeah, I have it here. It's the last sheet in the pile. So I'm not going to go over it one by one, but this is for your reading. This is a summary. This is from Daryl Garbachik, and Daryl put it together. I attended the trip, and it's a great facility. it costs, well, they built it 7 years ago, but it's all CNG certified, safety ties, all the proper ventilation, all the proper alarming, everything like that. And all the comments from their mechanics and the head of their maintenance department are written on this sheet. So I'm not going to go over it one by one. If you have any questions, and then Daryl said that probably later in January that he's going to have a workshop with the city council, and we're going to discuss CNG trucks and what they're all about and which direction the city wants to go with, CNG or biodiesel. But the way it looks to me, diesel engines are not the way to go anymore. So anyway, so that's for your information. And I just want to wish all my council colleagues Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And don't worry about none of this stuff for another 2 weeks. Just enjoy your family and enjoy, life and, what Christmas is all about. We'll get back to this sooner than later. And to all the people in Michigan City, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you still have a few nickels left in your pocket, donate it to your favorite charity and try to help somebody else out that's maybe in need at this time of year. So with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Meeting's over.